You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong. Author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. Today I have Hailey with me, and so I'm going to let Hailey take it away and share her story.
Hi, so my name is Hailey Newsome. I'm a wellness chef and coach, and I have fibromyalgia, and I help women with inflammation, reduce their inflammation through natural remedies and practices, also through diet. I really got started after my fibromyalgia journey went for the better. I was diagnosed about 6-7 years ago with fibromyalgia, and then my doctor, the rheumatologist that diagnosed me, he told me, he's like, Hailey, the medicines we have on the market, they don't really work. The side effects are awful, and you need to find another way because this is just not going to work. So that really sparked something in me that, I started doing research, and I started implementing different things, and I did an elimination diet for about a year, and now I no longer suffer with the symptoms of fibromyalgia. It was a long journey, but it was so well worth it because fibromyalgia, I'm not sure if, it's not well known. It's chronic inflammation and all your soft tissue and muscle and widespread pain. And then there's another 60 plus symptoms that you can also have, like sensitivity to light, sound. It's just awful. You're in pain all the time. You're sore. You're tired. You have chronic fatigue. It's awful. And so now I got my life back, and now I feel compelled to help others reduce their inflammation in their body.
So, okay, if someone is listening to this and they have some of the symptoms, where do they start? Because fibromyalgia is a fairly unknown disease, just like CP. And so where would one start? Of course, they wouldn't go to Google. They would go to a rheumatologist. But could you just pick up the phone to a rheumatologist, or do you need a referral from your general practitioner, or?
So usually you need a referral from your general practitioner. But I feel like if you're feeling like something's a little off, and you have like chronic fatigue or something like that, I feel like it's time. What you have to do, your first step, is you have to become in tune with your body and how certain things make you feel. For example, when I was having my flare-ups, when I would have the most pain and when the symptoms would really be affecting me during that time, during my elimination diet, I noticed that when I ate bread, I would ache for 2 to 3 days automatically just from eating bread once. So, but I had to become in tune with it. I had to notice that every time I eat bread, I'm sore for days, and it was an elimination diet that was like determine that. So I would eat, let's just say a sandwich with a bunch of different veggies on it. And it had like tomato, lettuce, onion, and carrot. I had pain. So the next day I would take out the tomato, and I still had pain. So then I would take out this ingredient. And then I would figure out which ingredients, I'm more sensitive to, which ingredients cause me pain, which ingredients make me feel sleepy. So what I really recommend is just like being in tune with your body and just noticing how things make you feel. If you don't have to start out so in depth like I did, but just like after lunch, how did you feel? Do you feel sleepy? Do you want to go lay down? Do you want to take a nap? You, if things are like that are happening, or say if you're having pain, if after lunch you're in a lot of pain, maybe something in lunch that you had for lunch didn't really agree with you. So getting in tune with yourself and how your food, I feel like your food is making you feel, that's the first step.
And now, I'm just asking this for myself because I deal with a lot of people with disabilities, and due to my neurological disability, it causes pain on its own. And so, due to my tone. And so, could you have fibromyalgia on top of another disability, or is it just straight down the line you have fibromyalgia?
So I think you can have, I know a lot of other women that have a lot of other conditions with fibromyalgia, but fibromyalgia, it just has so many symptoms that a lot of other conditions can have also too. Because when I was getting diagnosed, they checked to make sure I didn't have Lyme and I didn't have lupus, because Lyme and lupus show up very similar to fibromyalgia. And then other women that I've spoken with and things like that have fibromyalgia, they were misdiagnosed with a lot of other things at first, because like chronic fatigue, chronic pain, like some of those are just such general symptoms that a lot of conditions can make those show up. So if you have like some of those, it's not necessarily, you're not for sure like you have fibromyalgia, but you can have fibromyalgia on top of another condition.
Okay, so you can have fibromyalgia on top of another condition. And so, if you had a favorite book, what would the title be?
What's my favorite book? I like The Habits of Highly Successful People. That's just, I'm really into self-help books. There's a few out there that I really like, but The Habits of Highly Successful People, just because it just gives you like a really great outline of what you need to do to get where you need to go. So that's one of my favorites.
And so if your BFF had to write a book about you, what would the title be?
Food and Health with Hailey.
Food and Health with Hailey. And isn't that interesting? Because that's what you do on a daily basis. So it would have to be food related. And if you had to move and only take 4 things with you, what would they be?
I don't. Maybe a good book, or my essential oils. Maybe some tea. I don't attach myself to things too much, so like my essential oils, that's like a big one because I love those.
And so, you wouldn't take a laptop or a cell phone. You would take pretty much a book, essential oils, and that would be it.
Yes, because you said I would go into an island.
If you had to move house.
Move house?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I would just take my essential oils and my good book.
Yeah. So simple as that. And so, Kelly, what is your morning routine?
What was that?
What is your morning routine?
My morning routine, so I wake up, I start my day with like grateful thoughts, like gratitude, because especially with everything going on right now, just being able to wake up every day is a gift because this is, it's so much and many people aren't waking up. Many people didn't wake up today because of the pandemic. So just being grateful for that. And then I listen to like a high vibrational tone, 528 megahertz usually. It's my favorite. And then I drink lots of water, stretch a little bit, and start my day.
Okay. And do you have any questions for me as we wrap this interview up?
Well, I just have one about your views about like everything that's going on and like how are you doing? How are you handling it? Because this is a shock for a lot of people. You know, we're in a place that we've never been, and it's different.
Well, as I said, and this is public knowledge, I have been in shelter-in-place mode before shelter-in-place even was a thing. I came home from Orlando, Florida, March 9th. By that afternoon, I was in shelter-in-place mode. I only did 2 things. One of those 2 things was going to see my counselor. And during that week, I only did 2 things. One, went to the grocery store, and the other thing was going to see my counselor because I backed off my workouts because of everything that was going on. I knew what was going on, and I was waiting for people to back it off. And so I started backing away. And so by the time I went to my counselor, that freaked me out so much that I said to my counselor, literally, I said, we need to meet by phone next week. And that's because I knew I felt a shift in my own body in August. Sorry, not September. In August, I felt a shift in my own body because my stepmom and my aide, who was working with me at the time, asked me, do you want to go skiing? And they thought, well, I said no. They thought it was because I was grieving my own father's death. I said no because I felt a shift in my own body. And so I knew what was, by the time it hit, by the time this COVID-19 hit, I was ready to be in shelter in place. I was so freaked out by being out in the public that I was wiping my walker down, wiping my phone down, wiping everything down, and people weren't social distancing at the time. People weren't doing what they are still doing. I believe they're still not doing it, and I believe I'll be stuck in shelter-in-place mode on my 33rd birthday, which makes me so infuriated because people need to stop, people need to listen, people need to think, and people need to look at who's disabled. And Hailey, you are disabled with fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is one of those disabilities. So if you have stress, if everyone else has stress, we're going to be down with the best of them. And so I have done shelter-in-place mode since March 9th. It is now April 13th, and we're still doing shelter in place out here being Aspen, Colorado until May. And I've been looking in the local paper every single morning to see if that's changed. Now, granted, a local paper has now put a donation fee into it and said to keep journalism going, you need to donate, because these small independent newspapers can't do it anymore. I mean, there are people losing their jobs left, right, and center, and I'm surprised my small independent newspaper, we have 2 up here, and I'm surprised one of them hasn't gone under.
What was your question?
So I said I'm surprised that one of the local newspapers hasn't gone under, but I feel like let's support the women who are working so hard, like Hailey and myself, to support you guys. I mean, Hailey is working her tail off to support you guys with fibromyalgia so you guys don't get stressed out. And mark my words, there's not enough for the disabled to be supported by right now.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's a tough time, and it's great how anyone can help. Help anyone else during this time. It's a great thing, because more than ever right now we need that, because this is something that we've never experienced before, and it's scary.
And I just wanted to tell you guys, there will be an optional $50 fee. I tried to make it mandatory. You guys box and squawks. Thank you, God, for not listening to the journalists in me and balking and squawking. I lost 2 interviews last night because of that, but the $50 fee will be optional, and those who want to pay it, great. Those who want to not pay it but share this in good kind, great as well, because journalists are struggling, and it's driving me nuts that you guys are not listening to when the journalists struggle, like myself, and you guys balk and squawk at me and Hailey, those of us with disabilities, trying to assist you guys, and then you say, oh, I don't want to pay. Well, look at your local newspaper. Look at your small county newspaper as to what they're doing. They're asking for in-kind donations. I think all journalists, except at the big papers, at like the New York Times, are not asking for in-kind donations, but my paper out here is certainly looking at it. So you guys need to look at who's taking care of you as individuals, who's not focused on the news right now, and who's taking care of ourselves as 2 disabled women. And so, Hailey, where could people find you?
All right, you can find me on Facebook, Hailey Newsome. Also, my page is Be Well with Hailey. So you can find me there. And if you have fibromyalgia, you can find me at a Facebook group, Healing Women with Fibromyalgia. So that's where you can find me.
And I appreciate it. And I have one more question for you. To those who have fibromyalgia, what would be your suggestion as we sit through the time of the coronavirus? Would it be, because I know that flare-ups with fibromyalgia and flare-ups with cerebral palsy get bones and joints all confused. So would it be try and keep yourself calm, or would it be eat healthy if you can, or would it be something to the effect of that?
Well, I feel like when you're having a flare up, it's really challenging because your mind state is in a different place. Like you're in pain, you're generally not thinking positive, you're maybe upset. These are like many of the emotions that I would feel at the beginning, like when I was going through my flare up. So I feel like you need to give yourself a break because we're hard on ourselves. You're having a flare up. It would take me over an hour to get out of bed. And then I would beat myself up inside about how long it took me to get out of bed. But instead, I should have been like, oh, it's okay, Hailey. Step by step, at least I was able to get out of bed. Because there's sometimes when it was really hard to get out of bed. So just be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. It's okay. Just take it step by step, day by day.
Be patient with yourself. But I will play devil's advocate. Don't go towards the junk food, you guys. Try and, for those of you, and those of you will probably think I'm nuts for saying this, try and do microbiotic cooking, which microbiotic cooking, I have been exposed to it. I was exposed to it in the 90s too. It re-entered my life when my dad died. And so try microbiotic cooking. It's basically cooking with vegetables and all that good stuff. Try and align your body with microbiotic cooking because I think that would help the flare-ups as well. And I, if I had the luxury by now of microbiotic cooking, I would do it for myself or have someone do it for me, but I don't. But I would say just eliminate the coffee, eliminate the wine. Thank you, guys, because wine and coffee are bad. And then try and stick to a healthy diet, even though you guys want the chocolate. I know you do, because we're all shelter in place. And someone asked me what my favorite quarantine snack is. And my favorite quarantine snack, and this is not only for quarantine, it's every day, it's granola with yogurt. And so at least it's healthy, but try and stick to the healthy end of eating. And I wish you guys the best of luck. And Hailey, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. I hope you are well during this time. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Hailey. And thank you, everyone, for supporting this podcast. And for those of you, as I said, the fee is optional now. For those who want to pay it, great. For those who can't, I understand. And but if you would do an in-kind donation by sharing this episode out, that will be your $50 fee. And for those who want to support me financially, you're more than welcome to it. Venmo and PayPal's are in the show notes as well. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll have all of Hailey's information in the show notes. Thanks to you guys.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.